All rise. The Commission on Judicial Appointments is now in session. The Honorable Patricia Guerrero presiding. You may be seated.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the public hearing of the Commission on Judicial Appointment. As Chief Justice of California, I serve as chair of the commission. The other members of the commission are Attorney General Rob Bonta and Presiding Justice Manuel Ramirez and Janelle Baker, who serves as the secretary to the commission. This hearing is to consider Governor Gavin Newsom's appointment of Judge Nathan R. Scott to the Office of Associate Justice for the 4th District Court of Appeal, Division 3. The Commission is in receipt of a letter from Governor Newsom appointing Judge Scott to fill a vacancy that was created by the retirement of William W. Bedsworth. The state constitution specifies that an appointment by the governor to the Court of Appeal is effective when confirmed by the Commission on Judicial Appointments. The Commission received correspondence pertaining to this appointment, and we made those letters available to the press and to the public a few days ago. Pursuant to a request by Governor Newsom, the State Bar's Commission on Judicial Nominees Evaluation has undertaken an evaluation of the qualifications of Judge Scott for this position. Ms. Chaya Malik, the chair of the commission, is present to share the results of the evaluation later in these proceedings. Judge Scott has asked the following persons to be called to testify on his behalf. I will list all of you individually and then ask you to come to the podium in the following order. The Honorable Kathleen O'Leary, Presiding Justice for the 4th District Court of Appeal, Division 3. The Honorable Raymond Ikola, retired now, but formerly an Associate Justice with the 4th District Court of Appeal, also Division 3. And the Honorable Walter P. Schwarm, a judge with Superior Court of California for the County of Orange. We now welcome to all of you, and we now invite Presiding Justice O'Leary to the podium.
Good morning, Chief Justice Guerrero, Presiding Justice Ramirez, Attorney General Bonta. I first became acquainted with Judge Scott when he joined the court as a research attorney in Justice Ikola's chambers, and that was in 2005. And for just about 8 years, I worked closely with him, so it gave me a good opportunity to observe many of his character traits and skills and abilities. I found him to be incredibly bright, collegial, and a person with a very strong work ethic. He also had an innate sense of right and wrong, or as I frequently say, his moral compass headed true north. I am always interested in people's life stories because I think in many cases, that life story tells you how they came to become such exceptional professionals, or in Judge Scott's case, how we became an exceptional lawyer, judge, and is a truly exceptional human being. I think his journey to excellence started at an early age with his family, a family with humble circumstances. Judge Scott's maternal grandfather's family immigrated to Southern California from Portugal, and they raised sheep on Catalina Island. His paternal grandmother's family first arrived in Mexico from Spain in the 1500s and later settled in New Mexico. The family later moved to Southern California, where Judge Scott grew up in a very diverse blue-collar family neighborhood. His relatives held jobs as carpet layers, machinists, gardeners, elementary schools, and preschool teachers. I think that those who come from low-income families often face challenges more affluent people don't. Judge Scott went to a school that required him to take 2 public buses or walk when his family didn't have the bus fare. His father worked swing and graveyard shifts for 3 to 4 years at an aerospace plant before becoming a gardener for the Los Angeles City School District. His mother worked at a Foster's Freeze and Toys R Us before taking night classes to become a preschool teacher. Unfortunately, Judge Scott's family had to move frequently throughout his childhood. He has lived next to a freeway, a dog food plant, and has lived right across the street from a country club. Because of one of the areas they lived in, his mother couldn't dress him in red clothing because of safety concerns. His nights sometimes were punctuated by freight trains running past his bedroom window. His parents couldn't afford a lot of luxuries, but they worked hard to show him the love he deserved and the love that they could give him. His life experiences growing up caused Judge Scott to develop a sense of compassion for those who have experienced the same or similar challenges in growing up. He learned the value of hard work from his parents, and he realized hard work is always necessary, but it's not always glamorous. His father left before sunrise to work as a gardener, and his mother left after dark to take night classes to become a preschool teacher. Although Judge Scott eventually left his home to go to UCLA and then on to Harvard for his law degree, he never forgot the challenges that he and his family faced in his early days, and he never forgot the lessons he learned from those years. After becoming a lawyer, Judge Scott returned to the area in which he grew up. He got married and raised his children in a house that he used to walk by on his way to school when he was young. He values the diverse, multicultural neighborhood the family lived in. His children attended the local public schools and took public buses to get to high school, just like he did. Rather than leaving the community that supported him, he returned to contribute to that same community. I think his ethnic background and his life experiences undoubtedly led him to his involvement in the California Latino Judges Association and the Orange County Hispanic Bar Association. And it's not just his community that benefits from his service. Just a few examples of the service he provides outside his community. He served as the co-chair of the Orange County Bar Association Civility Task Force, and he participates in the Superior Court's All Rise summer program for students. And he has for many years been involved in the Second Harvest Food Bank. So on the trial bench, Judge Scott has given every case the attention it deserves, whether it's a family law case involving non-English speaking self-represented litigants or a family law case where both sides are represented by premier Orange County family law lawyers. Growing up, Judge Scott learned that we don't judge people on how they are dressed, what their occupations are, or where they live. You look in the merits of their claim. He demonstrated justice must be fair, impartial, and blind to social status while he was family law judge and while he's currently serving on civil panel, although we did snag him for a short pro tem appointment on the Court of Appeal last month. A justice on the Court of Appeal who has Judge Scott's life experience and has learned from those life experiences belongs on the appellate court bench. I believe Judge Scott is exceptionally well qualified to sit as an Associate Justice of the Court of Appeal, 4th District, Division 3, and I would be thrilled to have him as a colleague, and if there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
No questions. Well, we thank you for your very helpful comments here today. We appreciate it. We next invite to the podium Justice Ikola.
Well, good morning, Chief Justice Guerrero, Justice Ramirez, Attorney General Bonta. It's really a pleasure to be back with colleagues from the bench after now 3.5 years of retirement. But I can't think of a better opportunity to meet old colleagues and even some of the CHP officers I've seen outside who, for so many years, ferried me back and forth to committee meetings in San Francisco. I've been asked by Nate to speak on his behalf. I'm not sure why he did that, because I'm not sure that he's going to like what I had to say. I'm just kidding. Nate's a wonderful person. What happened was in about January of 2005, 2 vacancies became open on the staff on the Court of Appeal, 4th District, Division 3, and Justice Aronson, who is sitting behind me right here, had 1 vacancy, and I had 1 vacancy in my chambers. And so we decided that we would join together and do a joint recruitment and interview to fill those 2 positions. Well, we had almost 100 people apply for the vacancies. We whittled that down based on the paper resumes, who I forget exactly, but somewhere in the neighborhood of a dozen, maybe 8 to 12, and conducted interviews. At the end of the interview, we then did something that kind of shocked some of the applicants. We had pulled a case that had been fully fully worked up by your staff, gave them the briefs and the public record, and asked them to write an opinion for our review. And we gave them a rather short time, I guess a couple of weeks. Maybe Nate can remember more precisely. But after reviewing the work, and by the way, some of them dropped out at that. But after reviewing those, two candidates rose to the very top. I mean, there was no question in Justice Aronson or my mind that there were two candidates just stood out. So Justice Aronson was a couple of years senior to me on the court, so I deferred to him naturally to take the choice between these two very well-qualified people. And Justice Aronson picked the older and more experienced candidate, who was a very good candidate and who still to this day is sitting on the Orange County Superior Court. I was left with the younger, less experienced, but very brilliant Nate Scott. And I thought, well, I have a diamond in the rough. I was wrong. There was no roughness there. He was a diamond without the need of any further polishing. He served me so well over the years, totally almost 8 years in my chambers as a research attorney. Just a delight to work with. I'd like to sort of sum up what my feelings were about Judge Scott by quoting just a portion of a letter I wrote to the governor urging his nomination of Judge Scott to this position. I told the governor this, among other things. I told him during Nate's service in my chambers from 2005 to 2012, he routinely and conscientiously performed his duties with great care, demonstrating superior intellect, superior legal analysis, superior judgment, and superior writing. Nate writes with a natural economy of language, demonstrating an ability to explain complex legal analysis in succinct, cogent prose, easily understood by those who must digest his analysis. His work ethic was outstanding, eventually serving as my lead research attorney with the additional duties of supervising and teaching law school students who spent a semester with the court as unpaid externs. During that time, Nate also actively participated in leadership positions in the Orange County Bar Association and his Inn of Court. Throughout, Nate worked well with others, was well liked by his colleagues, and by the justices of the court. His demeanor is well suited to satisfy the judicial canon that a judge must be patient, dignified, and courteous. Nate then went on, getting an appointment to the Superior Court, where he has served to this day. And his excellence that he had demonstrated in my chambers has continued. Of course, I had then the opportunity to review Nate's work as a Superior Court judge. I found his decisions uniformly well-reasoned and explained, importantly explained. Moreover, Nate has been an ambassador for the judicial branch generally. If you take a look at his biography, the number of public service and community engagement activities in which he has engaged is almost stunning. He has been in the community, talking to people about the judicial branch and its activities. Of course, I have to mention Nate's dedication to his family. I so well remember him coming back from weekends where he's done some sort of camping trip with, I guess it was Indian guides. I don't know if I remember that right, but I think it was Indian guides. And now all those little children that I remember are here in the audience, and they're high school and college, and I think one's graduated already. It's been wonderful to watch. So let me just say that I heartily recommend that this commission confirm Nate's appointment. He has superior intellect, superior legal analysis. His writing style is unmatched, and a wonderful demeanor. And I always used to say when I left my chambers at the end of the day, whoever was there listening, I would always say, enough is enough. And so enough is enough today. I recommend heartily your endorsement and your confirmation of Nate's appointment.
Thank you so much, Justice Ikola. I think the relationship with your research attorney is a very special one, so we thank you for your thoughts. And it sounds like you have Justice Aronson to thank as well. We next invite to the podium Judge Schwarm.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Chief Justice Guerrero, Presiding Justice Ramirez, and Attorney General Bonta for permitting me to share my comments today regarding Judge Scott's confirmation as an Associate Justice to the 4th District Court of Appeal, Division 3. I'm really, really honored to be here to speak on behalf of my friend and colleague. I didn't meet Nate because our legal careers crossed paths. For example, I didn't meet him in the courtroom because we tried a case against each other or because we worked in the same office with each other. Rather, I met him through our mutual friend, Justice Aronson, who's here today. Back in 2009, I met Nate probably a couple years before my appointment to the Superior Court in 2009. And back around then, I was running regularly with Justice Aronson at lunchtime, and he one day brought this research attorney to come join us on our run. And of course, that was Judge Scott. And that's how our friendship developed. So I didn't know him professionally, but I got to know him personally before his appointment to the Superior Court. So let's jump to 2012 when he was appointed to the Superior Court. That's when I really got to know him. He served in a limited criminal assignment, then went to the family law panel, then is currently on the unlimited civil panel. He's also been the presiding judge for appellate division, and he did that for about 3 years. And 3 years is it's a little bit out of norm for our court for somebody to serve as the presiding judge of the appellate division for 3 years. But it was during the pandemic, and we needed that continuity and that leadership on the appellate division. And Judge Scott brought that to the appellate division. When I worked with him on the unlimited civil panel, he became one of the judges I would go to, or one of the judicial officers I would go to when I had a thorny issue that I needed to discuss with someone. I always found him to be super smart, super thoughtful, and very measured. And really importantly, he was always available to speak with me if I had some sort of issue to discuss. Justice Ikola, Justice O'Leary have talked about his work on the Superior Court and the Family Law panel, also on the Unlimited Civil panel. There's one area I want to highlight in terms of his contributions to the legal community in Orange County. Judge Scott was part of the Orange County Bar Association's task force charged with developing civility guidelines for the Orange County Bar Association. And after the task force formed the civility guidelines, Judge Scott then led the project to have those civility guidelines posted at our courthouses at the Orange County Superior Court. Now, you might not think that's not that big of a deal. Judge Scott might humbly tell you that that's not that big of a deal. For example, he would probably tell you, well, what's the big deal? I had these posters of the civility guidelines made. They were framed. I had to go down to the hardware store, get some drywall screws, put the drywall screws into the wall, and have these civility guidelines posted at the courthouse. But it really is a big deal. And here's what I mean by that. There's a case out of our District Court of Appeal called LaSalle versus Vogel, which really drives home the importance of civility in the legal profession. And so it may seem like a small thing, but to me, it was a really important thing when Judge Scott led this project, because what it does is it shows his commitment to civility for the purpose of promoting the public's confidence and trust in the legal profession and and in the courts. And that's just a contribution I wanted to highlight. I now want to shift to his family. I also want to talk about his family and how important his family is to him. So today we have his parents here. John and Penny are here. We also have his sisters here. Joanna Bradfield is here with her husband, Ryan, and their children, Felice and Ivy. His sister Rachel is here with her husband, Thomas, Maggie, and their children, Maggie and Lottie. And his aunt and uncle are here. Joe and Liz are here also. But not only are those family members here, his grandmother is here. And I got permission to say this from Judge Scott before I'm going to say it, but his grandmother is here. His grandmother is 90 years old. And it's really, really special that she's here with us today. I also want to talk about Nate's immediate family. His wife, Mary, his sons, Jack, Josh, and Will are here today. Jack recently graduated from college with a degree in psychology. He's currently pursuing an application to get a degree, a master's in social work. Josh is a sophomore in college, pursuing a degree in economics and accounting. And Will is a sophomore in high school playing volleyball. I want to talk about Mary, all right? Mary and Nate are, well, it's Valentine's Day. They were high school sweethearts, all right? But it even goes back further. They actually met in middle school, all right? And they started dating in high school. Then they both went to UCLA together. After finishing at UCLA, Nate took a job as a bank teller for about a year. Then he went off to law school at Harvard. After finishing law school, they returned to Southern California to start the family and for Nate also to start his legal career. And Mary was with him every step of the way. Mary currently works as a librarian in the city of Huntington Beach. And so to Mary, especially, and to all of these families that are here today, I hope you know that Nate knows that you've got all of your support. So with that being said, Attorney General Bonta, Chief Justice Guerrero, and Presiding Justice Ramirez, I strongly recommend Judge Scott's confirmation as an Associate Justice in the 4th District Court of Appeal. Here's what the Court of Appeal will be getting. The Court of Appeal will be getting a dedicated, hardworking, super smart, collaborative justice who has excellent integrity. Basically, Judge Scott is a fundamentally fair person who will have the courage to make tough and independent decisions on the Court of Appeal. I really thank you for your time today, letting me make these comments.
Thank you. We thank you for your wonderful comments here today. We appreciate it. The Commission now invites the Chair of the Judicial Nominees Evaluation Commission, Ms. Chaya Malik, for the report of the evaluation that was conducted by your Commission.
Thank you. And Judge Schwarm, I'm a sucker for good Valentine stories, so thank you. Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, Presiding Justice Ramirez, I am honored to present this report on behalf of the Commission of Judicial Nominees Evaluation to summarize the basis of the Commission's rating of Judge Nathan R. Scott for the Office of Associate Justice of the Court of Appeal, 4th District Appellate Court and Division 3. The JA Commission conducted its evaluation of Judge Nathan R. Scott in October of 2022, unanimously finding him to be exceptionally well qualified for service on the 4th District Court of Appeal. According to Commission rules, that rating reflects the Commission's determination that Judge Scott possesses qualities and attributes of remarkable and extraordinary superiority that enable him to perform the appellate judicial function with distinction. Judge Scott was born in Long Beach, California, and grew up in a diverse environment surrounded by extended family. His parents worked a variety of jobs, including an ice cream shop, a toy store, and an aerospace plant, before his father became a gardener for the Los Angeles Unified School District. Judge Scott and his younger sisters lived in 7 different homes in various working-class neighborhoods in Long Beach throughout their childhood. Their early years were spent in Los Angeles' Wilmington neighborhood near the Port of Los Angeles, where he enjoyed the camaraderie of playing with other kids at the neighborhood park. However, the family faced challenges, including eviction when their landlord sold their house and the menacing presence of local gangs. They moved frequently, often to neighborhoods with fewer resources, and lived with limited financial means, which meant Judge Scott qualified for reduced or free lunches. In 4th grade, he began busing an hour each way to school and used city buses to attend middle school in a distant neighborhood. On days he could not afford the fare, he walked the 3 miles to school. After graduating from Long Beach Polytechnic High School, Judge Scott attended Long Beach City College, earning an associate's degree in liberal arts in 1992. He then went on to UCLA, where he earned a BA in philosophy in 1995. Judge Scott completed his JD from Harvard Law School in 1999, and from 1999 to 2004, he worked on a broad range of civil matters to prominent law firms such as Kirkland & Ellis in Los Angeles, and then Cox, Castle & Nicholson in Irvine. In 2005, Judge Scott joined the 4th District Court of Appeal, Division III in Santa Ana as a research attorney, where he worked closely with Justice Raymond Ikola. During this time, he drafted hundreds of proposed opinions, gaining valuable experience in extensive legal research and analysis. In 2012, he was appointed to the Orange County Superior Court. Initially assigned to criminal arraignments for 3 months, he then spent 3 years on the family panel before joining the civil panel in 2016. In 2018, he was appointed to the appellate division and has served as presiding judge since 2019. Throughout his career, Judge Scott has remained deeply involved in the Orange County Bar Association, serving on multiple committees and task forces and chairing the appellate section. In recognition of his contributions, Judge Scott was awarded Judge of the Year honors by both the Hispanic Bar Association and the Orange County Trial Lawyers Association in 2019. Judge Scott's family continues to play a central role in his life. His sisters live nearby, and he's married with 3 boys. He feels immense gratitude for his loving family and the good fortune that has shaped his life. Described as humble, thoughtful, positive, and engaged, Judge Scott brings a deep sense of empathy and dedication to his work and personal life. The Jenney Commission learned that Judge Scott is a talented writer, skilled at navigating complex legal issues, and consistently producing clear, well-reasoned, and logical work. He is highly regarded for his intellect, judicial demeanor, fairness, and communication skills. When interacting with the commission, Judge Scott came across as pleasant, professional, and kind, demonstrating a genuine passion for the law and his role within it. As Jenney Commission Chair, it is my honor and privilege to appear at the confirmation hearing for Judge Nathan A. Scott to testify as to the Commission's evaluation.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your very thorough and comprehensive evaluation for the work that you've done and the work of your commission as well. And the commission now invites Judge Scott to the podium to present a statement if you wish and to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Chief Justice Guerrero, Presiding Justice Ramirez, Attorney General Bonta. I am overwhelmed, but I stand here with a heart full of gratitude. Thank you to you and your staffs for your time, preparation, and consideration. Thank you to my speakers for making the trip, for your kind remarks, and for being my friends all these years. Thank you to Jenney Commission Chair Chaya Malik for coming here today and for your very gracious report. Thank you to all of the organizations who sent letters of support to the commission. I love working with you. I love your mission, and I appreciate your time. So many people have guided me and taken care of me in so many ways. I hope to give some more thank yous soon. But for the moment, I would submit on the testimony, report, and letters before the commission and answer any questions the commission may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Scott. I'll first start with Attorney General Bonta.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to your witnesses. I appreciated your testimony. I want to say welcome to your family. It's wonderful to spend this special moment here with all of you. And Judge Scott, it was very informative to hear about your lived experiences. I think our lived experiences help define why we serve and how we serve. So that was very helpful. And I appreciate the witnesses putting some more detail on that. I was also happy to hear that you're taking care of your mental and physical health by running at lunch at times. I'll say that that's something that I had on occasion to do with colleagues, and I don't do enough of it now. But my reflection is that's when I did some of my best active listening because I was breathing so hard I couldn't talk. And but wonderful to hear that vignette. And I do have a question for you. It's sort of a pull back the camera question about your role as a judge and the role of the judiciary, especially now. And when we have some leaders in our country who are questioning, perhaps seeking to undermine the legitimacy of the courts and the fundamental principles of separation of powers and checks and balances. Can you just reflect a little bit about why you chose to serve in the judiciary and what you think your ongoing role is, especially vis-a-vis the other branches of government?
Attorney General Bonta, thank you for the question. It is so important to be able to play such a direct and immediate role in the lives of real people. And as a trial judge, you have real people coming into your courtroom every day with real problems, things that are affecting their lives, and they need access to justice. And it's the judicial branch that takes these cases one at a time, works through them, makes sure that the litigants are heard, and provides that access to justice. And I've been proud of every minute of the last 20 years, whether as a research attorney, as a superior court judge, or currently sitting by assignment on the Court of Appeal, to be able to play a role in helping to make the lives of real Californians just a little better.
Thank you.
Thank you. Presiding Justice Ramirez.
Chief, thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Take a deep breath.
Thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Indulge me for just a moment. I did want to say thank you to our speakers, Judge Schwarm. Thank you for taking time from your busy trial court calendar. Justice Ikola, always good to see you. Good to see that you're in good health. Go Blue. He's a big Michigan fan. And Justice O'Leary, and retired Justice Aronson. Actually, among the three of you from Orange County, we have about 80 years of experience as former prosecutors, public defenders, trying cases against each other. And I would encourage anyone in this room who ever thinks of taking a road trip with Justice Aronson, I would say don't. Don't. He may not remember. I still have nightmares of taking a trip with him to Monterey for a judge's program and salt and peppering me as he was the driver with questions that I just couldn't begin to believe anyone could come up with questions like that. It wasn't just about the presidency, but he wanted to know who was the Secretary of Defense for the third president of the United States. So who knows that kind of information? He knows that kind of information. And you and I, we have a little bit of a bond, I think, respectfully. Growing up in a family of 8 brothers and sisters, a mom and dad in a 2-bedroom, 700 square foot house, and going through many of those same life's experiences. I have a degree of sensitivity to that and those experiences that you had. And you may not be able to see your family from the position I'm in, but the pride, the joy, the happiness, I can see all of that out in the audience area, and how proud they must be of you, as all here are of you right now, this current moment. Reading your information, the packet prepared by the commission, it's an outstanding application and a pleasure to read. So thank you for allowing me to do that and sift through that. I did want to ask you a question. I do have a question, Chief.
I knew you did.
I sat as juror number 4 in a 4-month civil medical malpractice case. And interesting, as a prosecutor, I tried cases. As a trial judge, I tried cases. I was called as a witness in a habeas corpus murder case I had prosecuted earlier. So I'd sat in every chair in a courtroom except as a juror until that particular day. I was juror number 4. And watching the judge operate from that vantage point, very different than from the counsel table or even from the witness stand. The attention to detail, the accommodations, really pretty overwhelming to this day. I considered it an honor to have sat before that judge, his honor. And I won't mention his name. In going through your materials, the Bar Association, one of the Bar Association members wrote, the Unity Bar Association, in fact, made the comment, if I may, he once seated a hearing-impaired individual on a jury with audio evidence and worked with a sign language interpreter to make sure that the juror was able to participate. Now, I would like to ask you, was it a criminal or a civil case?
Presiding Justice Ramirez, that was a civil case. It was a personal injury case.
And it matters not, because there's a level of accommodation that we have to provide to all jurors. And I know that from my experience as a juror. But listening to your speakers talk about your patience, your sense of dignity, your ability to be courteous, and I'm sure you were with all in your courtroom, trying to provide an accommodation for someone like that. How did you go about that? What did you do to accommodate that juror? And I'm sure it's just one small aspect to an otherwise shining and glowing experience that you've had as a trial judge officer. So what did you do in that case? I'm just very curious.
Yeah, thank you, Presiding Justice Ramirez. That case was a terrific education for me.
Was it a short trial or a trial of some duration?
It would have been probably 7 or 8 court days. And it was a personal injury case, an auto accident case. One of the issues was how fast was the plaintiff traveling on his motorcycle at the time of the accident. There were no eyewitnesses, but there was an ear witness. And the parties had accident reconstruction experts who tried to replicate the sound of a motorcycle at different times so that the jury could determine how fast was that motorcycle traveling. When the juror was first came in for voir dire, we worked very closely with the court staff to bring in a sign language interpreter. And very quickly, the issue came up of how can this juror participate in a deliberation with audio evidence. And we were all, I think, had our eyes opened at the tremendous work that sign language interpreters do and how they work and how people work with them. And it is so important, again, to have these real Californians in the courtroom sitting as jurors so that the entire community is represented and plays a part in the access to justice. And so we learned how sounds are interpreted and the tremendous amount of work that goes into that. And after exhaustive questioning from the attorneys who had never dealt with that issue either, I certainly had not, the three of us were convinced this juror was perfectly qualified to consider all of the evidence as presented and make a decision. And
I had never come across that kind of an example. I was so thrilled and so pleased and so excited that along came this judge, you, and that you were able to provide that level of accommodation. That spoke to the earlier remarks made by our presenters, that you had the heart, the head, the compassion, the sensitivity, and the empathy. It is a challenge to provide that level of accommodation, and you rose to that challenge. So congratulations to you. I'm so very proud that you're able to do that. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Presiding Justice Ramirez. Judge Scott, I also wanted to touch upon some of the materials, and I agree it's really a pleasure to read through them. Some of the feedback that we get is from people who are asked, who have appeared before you, attorneys and judges who have worked with you. And we see some of the comments coming through similar to what we've heard here today about your keen intellect, your strong legal analysis, your concise writing. In addition to that, some of the comments stood out to me. Typically in Superior Court, one side is happy, the other side is not. As a nature of the rulings that we provide, there were several comments from attorneys who had appeared before you who said that they agreed with you, even when they lost. And it wasn't just one person, it was several. And so my question to you first is, what is your secret? And in addition, how would you apply the skills that you applied as a trial court judge when you transition to the appellate bench to ensure what I think this represents is that everybody feels heard and they feel that you are listening and providing careful deliberation to your case? I'm sure that will continue on the appellate bench, but what do you hope to accomplish on the appellate bench?
Yeah, thank you, Chief Justice Guerrero. The secret is to have extraordinarily gracious attorneys appear before you. And I've been lucky in that regard. I don't know that I could say it any better than you just did right now. It is so important to let people know not just that a decision has been made, but that they've been heard and that the decision is explained. And whether you're trying to do that in a trial court setting with a busy calendar or able to do it with a little more reflection and resources as a court of appeal or justice, it is critically important to make sure that decisions are not just right, but articulated in the right kind of way so that the right messages are sent. You have to be careful with our words, and I will work very hard to do so.
Thank you very much. Does that complete the list of witnesses who are here to testify today? Are the members of the commission prepared to vote?
I am.
All in favor of confirming Judge Nathan Scott for this position, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. On this record and the correspondence received, the commission finds Judge Nathan Scott qualified to be an Associate Justice for the 4th District Court of Appeal, Division 3, and we confirm his appointment. Congratulations, Justice Scott.
Thank you all.
Thank you. The formal portion of the hearing is now adjourned. Justice Scott has asked me to administer the oath. You're all welcome to stay for that. In a few moments, we'll reconvene. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Okay. You ready?
I am.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Nathan Scott,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I know it's been a long morning for many of the people in this room. Thank you for your patience. I do have some thank yous that I must give. Thank you to Governor Gavin Newsom for your trust. Thank you to Judicial Appointment Secretary Luis Cespedes, to Deputy Secretary Adam Hoffman, Debbie Kuhn, and your entire team for considering my application and believing in me. Thank you again to Jenny Chair Chaya Malik and to the entire Jenny Commission, including Ryan Takorda, Diana Garrido, and Janine Crable. Thank you to the Department of Justice and Deputy Attorney General Lakeisha Beasley and the Office of the Attorney General and Helen Coe for preparing the commission so thoroughly. Thank you to everyone who worked hard putting today together. The commission, its staff, Janelle Baker, Charles Cahoon, the building staff, and the CHP, including officers Rafael Reynoso and Ian Raymer in Orange County, and officers Hunter Ramos, Pete DiCola, and Nicholas Hoey up here. This vacancy was created by the retirement of the irreplaceable Justice William Bedsworth. Thank you, Beds, for your wisdom, for your calls for civility, for words that I keep on my bench and use every time I swear in a new lawyer, and for your friendship. Thank you to everyone who reviewed my application, including the Governor's JSAC Committee for Orange County and the Orange County Bar Association's Judicial Evaluation Committee. Thank you to everyone who wrote letters to the Governor or to the Commission to support my application. Special thanks to the Orange County Association of Affinity Judicial Officers and its president, Elizabeth Macias. To the California Latino Judges Association and Justice Tom Delaney, Presiding Judge Sergio Tapia, and Judge Jessica Delgado. Tom, I know you're out there. You've been tremendously supportive. Thank you. Let me also thank Latino judges across the state, including Justice Victor Rodriguez, Arnaldo Baltodano, and Victor Veramontes for your encouragement and support. Let me thank the Hispanic Bar Association and Jeanette Garcia, Shelley Aronson, Chris Ayala, and Frank Chirino. Are you really having a watch party? Thank you so much to the Unity Bar of Orange County, including Amber Poston, now Judge Amber Poston, Heidi Plummer, Allison Chan, and all of the affiliate bar associations, the Arab American Lawyers Association of Southern California, the Filipino American Lawyers of Orange County, the Iranian American Bar Association, Orange County, the Muslim Bar Association of Southern California, the Orange County Hispanic Bar Association, the Orange County Jewish Bar Association, the Orange County Korean American Bar Association, the Orange County Lavender Bar Association, the Orange County Women Lawyers Association, the Thurgood Marshall Bar Association, and the Vietnamese American Bar Association of Southern California. Thank you all for your support. I'd also like to thank past chair of the OCBA Family Law Section, Attorney Robert Farzad. I'd like to thank past Family Law Section and Appellate Section Chair, Lisa McCall. We first started working together at Public Law Center on that presentation 18 years ago. I'm so happy for all of your success. I need to thank Presiding Justice O'Leary. At the reception after my Superior Court enrobing, a friend, who is a lawyer, came up to Mary and said, with his eyes wide in disbelief, "Oh my God, he's talking to Justice O'Leary." Sometimes I don't believe I get to talk to you too, but I'm lucky to do so, and I appreciate all of your support. I need to thank Justice Richard Feibel, who we all miss so dearly. I'd like to thank Justice Ray Ikola. You could not ask for a better boss or a better judicial role model. Thank you. Jan, keep taking good care of him. Justice Richard Aronson. He saw more in me than I ever saw in myself. For example, he thought he saw someone who could keep up with him and Walt as they would run 5 or 6 miles through Santa Ana. He was wrong, but he also thought I could be a judge, and maybe even a good one if I would just chill out. I'm still working on that, but I never would have gotten started, let alone come this far, without your support. I'm so glad you and Sherry are here. Let me thank everyone who was ever called about my application or sent a Jenny questionnaire, including some friends from back home in Long Beach, like Beth Kristen, Penny Morris, and Kathy Nemeth. Thank you to my colleagues on the Superior Court. Getting to work alongside you was like getting called out of the bleachers to play with Hall of Famers. You inspired me and taught me so much. No one helped me more than my clerk, Joanna Castorena, and my court attendant, Joey Thomas. You two care so much about the court, and you excel at everything you do. Apparently, you made even me look good. So thank you for that. Your futures are so bright. Let me also thank everyone else that I ever got to share a courtroom with, including Katie Castro, Diana Acosta, Stacy Wynn, Jeff Rosenson, Mike LaRussa, Lisa Palmer, Kimberly Handing, who had to break in a brand new judge, and Julie Almason, who guided me through the complicated maze that is family law. On that note, thank you to the Family Law Bar and to the civil lawyers for entrusting your clients to me and for your patience. Thank you to the Chief, to Presiding Justice O'Leary and Orange County Superior Court Presiding Judge Maria Hernandez for allowing me to sit by assignment for the last month on the Court of Appeal. Thank you to Administrative Presiding Justice Judith McConnell and the 4th District's Clerk Executive Officer Brandon Henson for your warm welcomes. Thank you to all of the justices on the 4th District Division 3 for your collegiality and a remarkably warm and welcoming work culture. I'm lucky to work with you. Thank you to Divisions 3 Assistant Clerk and all-around miracle worker, Janet Gamboa. Thank you to my judicial assistant, Christy Hermosillo, who is diligently keeping me on track even as my head is spinning. Thank you to my new research attorneys, Kim, Lewis, and Chen, and to everyone else at the 4-3. Jake, Olga, I'm back. It's so wonderful to have so much of my family here today. Thank you all for loving me, even when I've been making it hard. Thank you to my grandma, Lita Scott, 90 years old, almost 91, still going strong and here today. Thank you to my aunt and uncle, Liz and Joe Cantu, not least of, or most of all, for taking such good care of Grandma. Thank you to my cousin, Julian Cantu. Thank you to my mom and dad, Penny and John Scott. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you to my sister, Joanna Bradfield, her husband, Ryan, and their children, Felix and Ivy. Thank you to my sister, Rachel Signey, her husband, Thomas, and their children, Maggie and Lottie. Thank you, Lottie. In case you didn't pick up on this, how close-knit are we as a family? 19 of us live within 3 miles of each other. Jack, Josh, Will, I love being your dad and watching you become you. I treasure every minute. Mary, you're my everything. You have been since high school. Always and forever. Thank you all so much for all of your support. Who gets to live out their dream? It reminds me of the final lines from my favorite movie when I was growing up as a kid. Just remember what happened to the man who suddenly got everything he always wanted. He lived happily ever after. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Congratulations.